In this video, we're going to be doing a power jack repair on a Toshiba laptop. If you look, you'll see that the jack is completely missing. Well, it's actually stuck on the inside of the computer. It's not as tough of a repair as you would think, and I'll show you once we open it up. It's in there connected to two wires, which is connected to the motherboard. So it's not actually, the jack's not actually not pulled off of the motherboard. It's actually still connected to the wire. So first thing I want to do is take out the battery, and we're just going to take the whole thing apart to get to the motherboard level. I take the battery out first. We take out the hard drive and all the other components second. And then we unscrew the case and get all the screws off the bottom part of the case. See if there's any screws on the top part of the case. So we get the hard drive out. We're going to take the RAM out. Just checking if there's any other components that need to come out. Right now I'm taking out what I think is holding the plate that's above the keyboard onto the computer, because I usually don't take all the screws out of the bottom of the laptop before I take the keyboard off and try to get the screen off. So I'm taking out what I'm guessing are screws that might be holding that plate above the keyboard on, and then I'll flip the laptop over. I'll check to see if those screws were holding it on. If not, no big deal. I had to take these screws out anyway. This video is not being recorded in real time. This was recorded at the shop, and I'm just narrating over it. So I might be guessing wrong of some of the things I'm doing, but I'll just narrate anyway. Get the CD drive out of there. There's only one screw holding that in, which is one of the ones I just took out. It looks like I'm actually going to just go for it and just take all the screws out of the bottom of the case since I have it down here. But you can do it either way. See, my main objective is to get the screen off. I like to take the screen off as soon as I can because I don't want the screen to get in the way. It's fragile. It's unwieldy. I don't want it scratched. I just want it out of the picture. And the way to do that normally is to get that plate above the keyboard off, and I'll show you when we flip the laptop around. This one might not have that plate. But I figured, since we're down here, let's just take all the screws out of the bottom. It's a matter of preference. Now you're going to see the little markings next to each screw hole on the Toshiba laptop here. Those markings tell you the size of the screw that should be in the hole. So I'm just throwing all the screws in one big pile because I know where they go according to those markers on the next to the screw holes. So I don't have to worry about keeping track of the screws as much, which is really nice and is a nice feature of the Toshiba laptops for us technicians. They've been doing that for years with those numbers next to the screw hole. It's usually letter F with a number, usually a 6, 7, 5, 3. I believe it might be millimeters that it's actually measuring. And then always check the back of the computer. There might be screws back there too holding the screen in. The back panel. Not the underside, just the back panel. You know, the spot where you normally plug in, like power jack or whatever. Okay, I'm thinking all the screws are out. Just want to double check. Now this is a newer model I've never worked on before, so I'm checking now to see if there's a plate holding the keyboard in. A plate that's right under the screen and right above the keyboard. And this one doesn't have a plate, but you'll see what it does have once I figure it out. Because right now I'm in the process of figuring it out. How do I get the keyboard off is my question now. How do I get the keyboard and the screen off? You feel around, you look around, you see if there's a plate above the keyboard, below the screen. It's usually the key that when that plate comes off, and if you watch in earlier laptop videos, that's usually the key to getting the screen off, getting the keyboard off. And I can't seem to find one. Sometimes, especially with VAIOs, it's all one piece. and you have to find a different way to get the screen and keyboard off. But I think the solution will present itself here. If it doesn't, I'm going to fast forward it till I get to it. This is what takes time in the laptop video or the laptop repairs, guys. Figuring out how to get these babies apart. Okay, so I'm trying to pull the whole top section off in one piece. It's very unlikely, though, it comes off in one piece because that keyboard is in there pretty solid. It's probably screwed in somehow. I like to use my fingernail so I don't scratch any of the plastic to kind of pry the top and bottom plates apart. And they are coming apart, if you see that. But there's something still holding them in. In some cases, it might be a screw that I missed on the bottom of the computer. In this case, I don't know what it is yet. But remember rule number 1 in laptop repair. I'm probably going to mention this every video. If you have to force it, you're doing something wrong. It's probably going to break. If you have to force anything apart in a laptop repair, don't do it. Stop and find out what's holding it in.